Okay, we're live. We are live, so let's wait for people to show up. Who's in here right now? Put a thumbs up if you're here. Let's see. It's Tony, Greg, Monica. So I'm going to teach you how to broadcast using a different product today. We've been broadcasting using OBS, and that doesn't work for everyone, especially if you have an older computer. So what I'd like to do is just teach you an alternative that allows you to use an older computer for broadcasting. So we're going to teach you something about Flash Media Live Encoder. So I'm going to just go through this, and as people show up, they can ask questions, and they can also watch it on replay on YouTube Live. This is being streamed to YouTube Live right this moment. So hopefully you're seeing that. The video right now, in which case you're also watching it on YouTube Live without you having to show up at YouTube Live. So who else is here? So I know my audience here. Shelly is also here. So anyway, the topic tonight is how to use Flash Media Live Encoder to broadcast to Twitch. Now let's just do a quick review of how we broadcast in Brax. Right now, I'm broadcasting on Brax using a software called OBS. It's a free software. It's called OBS, or Open Broadcasting Software. And this particular broadcast is being broadcast to YouTube Live and then being restreamed on Brax. So Brax is getting it from YouTube Live. And the other way of doing it is to use Twitch. And for most of you, I would recommend just using Twitch because it's a lot easier than doing YouTube Live. YouTube Live has a lot of restrictions, as I've explained in the past. It's a lot of restrictions on what you can use, what you can do for broadcasting. For example, it requires that you get permission to even broadcast live. They don't just give it to anyone. And if you ask for permission, they'll say, well, you need to set up a what is called a AdSense account, meaning you have to put some monetization to it. And then on top of that, they don't give you the right to embed, which is how we restream it, unless you have 10,000 views, and then you have to ask for permission. Well, how do you get 10,000 views if nobody knows you on YouTube Live? So that's kind of impossible. So the easiest way is to use Twitch. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. But there's other alternatives. At the moment, there are 3 alternatives to broadcasting on Brax. One of them is Twitch, one of them is YouTube Live, and the other one is Brax Live. Brax Live is private streaming. And Brax Live is only used on Brax, and it's a premium product, so we haven't finalized the pricing for that yet. But it's a premium product, so it's going to be used only for private live streaming. If you want a free version, then just use Twitch. So the reason that we're going to be discussing Flash Media Live Encoder, as it turns out, if you have an older computer, such as older than 4 years old, and that means it'll be like older than 4th generation. 4th generation is kind of the cutoff here for, in my mind, between a new and an old computer. So 4th generation or 4th gen is is the limit of a computer that can handle OBS. If it's older than fourth gen, like third gen, it will run only when you have an i7 at least and a lot of memory. Otherwise, it doesn't really work. So, and there's some other requirements such as DirectX and some other software that has to be loaded on there. So a lot of older computers don't have it. So for that reason, it's not workable on an older computer to use OBS. And OBS has a lot of special features in it because it does more than the video. It actually integrates sound, takes layers of images and so on. It has some other features on there. And for that reason, hello, Nelly. So for that reason, it's a much more complex thing to use than Flash Media Live Encoder. Now, Flash Media Live Encoder is free. You can download it on the internet for free. It's freeware. So if you see it, you fill out a form and put in your name and address, and you can download it from Adobe or from any number of other sites. And it's free, so they don't charge for Flash Media Live Encoder. So that's what you can use for broadcasting on your PC. It works on any PC and Mac, so you can use either one. It doesn't have the kind of special features of feeding in movies and stuff you can do in OBS. Feeding in different sound, getting desktop sound. You can't do that. It's really for straight video. So it's about getting a webcam and just doing a broadcast. And I actually have it downloaded on my computer here. I have Flash Media Live Encoder downloaded. And you install it just like any normal Windows software. And it's going to look like this. I'm going to show you what it looks like. So you can see it actually has live video on it. So that's what I downloaded, and that's what it gives me. And yes, there's a lot of little things to set up on here. Not very clear, not focused. There's a lot of things to set up, but I have a list of this. Hello, Deborah. I have a list of items, so I'll be explaining it to you in detail. So we're just gonna go close up here when need be. Okay, so just to once you download the software, it looks like that, and there's a left section, which is this left section over here, which has your encoding options, and on the right side is your streaming options. And we're going to configure all of that live right here. Okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is choose some settings in here. I'm going to try not to shake the camera. I can't do this live on OBS because I can't stream and do this at the same time. So what I do here is I'm going to pick kind of a default setting from the presets. And I'm going to pick high bandwidth 800 kilobits per second H.264. So there's just to give you a close up there. High bandwidth 800 kilobits per second H.264. Okay? Then that device it will default to your existing camera, whatever camera you're using for the webcam. So I'm using the webcam right here, so you can see me on the webcam. Okay, and the format is H.264. Now you're going to have to click on that little wrench on the right. Sorry, I'm out of focus here. It doesn't autofocus automatically here. It's kind of a pain. How do I get this to focus? I can't sometimes it focuses, sometimes it does not. it's gonna be difficult here, but here's the little wrench. I'm gonna click on that and it will pop up another window. And it says main on the top one right there. That says main, and that says 3.1. These are actually quite important. And then here it says 5 seconds. So profile equals main, level equals 3.1, keyframe equals 3 seconds, and you can see that's a default, or sorry, 5 seconds. That's the default right there. So just make sure it's as I state here. And then you have the frame rate. Now the frame rate is typically set to 30, but if your internet connection is slow, you may want to reduce that. Your input size is the size of what the webcam usually handles, and usually it's full screen. So you know, you might want to just set it to whatever the full screen is. In my case there. And then this will now default the bitrate, the output size right there, and the bitrate, just to give you an idea, is do not exceed 1000. I put 1000 there right now. Don't exceed that. So for your, depending on your situation, you may want to limit that. The limitation is really for mobile. As we found out, when you're dealing with mobile, they don't like too much data or too big of a screen size. So if you're expecting people on mobile to watch you, this one should never be greater than 640. So I'm going to set that to 640, and it defaults the number to the right. Oops, 6400. Too many digits there. Okay, so 640. And that's it for the left side. The sound is kind of default. You don't have to touch the sound side. Typically it's ready the way you want it. It's hard to see, I know. Tap the phone screen. No, there's no phone screen to focus. I'm holding a camera. What am I going to tap? There's nothing to tap. I'm holding a Logitech camera by hand. It's a webcam. It's a USB webcam. So there's software to focus this, but I don't have it attached to OBS. Okay, so that's the left side there. Now on the right side, you have to put the URL that you need to send the data to Twitch. So here, the actual format is live dot twitch dot tv slash app. Sorry. live.twitch.tv slash app. And then on the stream, that's where you put your Twitch stream ID, stream key. Okay, I can't show you my stream key. Oops, sorry. Because that's private to me. So you would put your stream key over here. And then when you're done with that, you put your stream key on there. And the only thing you got to do is hit the button on the bottom. Boy, it's like it's washed out here. Start. And that is it. Now that starts your stream to Twitch. However, to go to Brax and make that work on Brax, this is how you do it once again. Okay, first you go to your account on Brax. So we're going to go broadcast under this account here, our test account, Zachmeister. And I'm going to go to settings. I'm going to go to my identity. And I'm going to scroll down to a section that says live streaming account. And here you put your platform, which is Twitch. And on the right side here, you put your channel. My Twitch channel is my user ID on Twitch, which is Braxme. So that's it. Twitch Braxme. That's it. I'm all set to go. So all I do now is go to an open channel. So we'll pick one. Let's say this one here is a free channel right there. And then I'm going to go to the bottom of this. And I'm going to say broadcast video. And there's a confirmation on top. Confirming. And now it says video active. Now, I'm not actually streaming it on Twitch, so it should give us a blank screen. And there it is. Okay, I'm not actually live on it because I haven't started the broadcast, because I have to put the stream key, which I haven't done yet. So, if you now go to the Bitrate channel, you should see this broadcast. So those are the steps to do a broadcast using Flash Media Live and Flash Media and Live Encoder, which is very similar to OBS. Okay, so that's the basic flow here. Okay, any questions? So it's if you want to see how you do it on OBS, use to Twitch. I already did a prior broadcast on YouTube Live, and you can look at it. It's very similar. The only difference here is I'm using Flash Media Live Encoder, or otherwise known as FMLE. FMLE. So, for anyone wanting to do just a basic webcam broadcast, then you don't need much more than FMLE. If you want to do something more complex, like capture your screen or show a movie or take a sound from iTunes and do all that, then you're going to need full OBS. Now, let me talk about, unless there's any questions, let me talk about a little bit about OBS and some of the issues with OBS that many of you may not be aware of. So I just want to make sure that from our experience now, we know what's up, not WhatsApp. OBS requires quite a bit of horsepower on your computer, otherwise known as, more CPU power. It needs a bit more CPU power, so an old Intel Pentium isn't going to cut it. So OBS is not usable really for a platform that does not have the capability for handling the CPU requirements of that program for video. So one of the things that we've determined is that the minimum requirement for using OBS, which is a higher requirement than using Flash Media Live Encoder, is that you need a fourth generation CPU or higher. That means, and let's say it's an i5 or i7, likely it has to be an i5 or i7, and the chip number needs to begin with the number 4, like 4,000 something, or 4,000. It has to be either 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, or 7,000. The current generation is 7,000. So my computer, anything purchased in mid 2016 will have 7,000. So year prior to that is 6,000, and then all the way down to 4,000. So if your computer chip is older than a fourth generation, meaning a number starting with 4,000, or it's not an i5, let's say you have an i3, then it's kind of marginal for use with OBS. So you will probably have problems. So in that case, then you may have to just do audio broadcasting and not worry about video broadcasting. I believe a Mac. I'm trying to just. I have a Mac, uh, MacBook Pro here. I'm gonna find out just what kind of chip is on here. I believe this is a. Doesn't actually say. It's Core i5. So this is a MacBook Pro Core i5 mid 2014. This is a mid 2014 computer uh, with 2.8 gigahertz Intel i5. So I'm gonna assume this would be at least fifth generation, maybe. Is my guess. Can't really be certain here. So, because it doesn't really tell you what the chip is. It's really funny they don't tell you what the chip is. Let me see if it actually tells you anywhere on here what the chip is. I think you have to Google it to find out what the actual chip is. So I can't tell from here. I don't know why Apple hides the chip. Maybe they don't want us to know that it's an Intel. Yeah, right. Apparently, we don't know it's an Intel. So anyway, this MacBook Pro is 2014. It's actually 2 years old. So it's actually, I bought it in I think early 2015. So it's about 2 years old. A 2013 Gen 3 i7 with Win 8 is still okay, but same hardware with Win 7 doesn't cut it. It's I'll explain that a little bit, and it may be something to do with DirectX. So you may have to download something related to DirectX. My guess is maybe you have to update it to the last version of Internet Explorer to get the latest DirectX in there. Brax Live is a new platform for live streaming that is not for everyday use because it's going to be a premium product. You're going to have to pay for that. So Brax Live is made for private broadcasting. It's on beta right now. You guys can test it. And it will work just like Twitch and YouTube Live, except you only see it on Brax. You don't see it anywhere else. Now, Brax Live, just for your knowledge, requires completely different settings on OBS and FMLE. It has completely different settings. So just FYI, it's not gonna work on the same settings. You actually have to read my instructions for how to set up Brax Live. But Brax Live works, and it's in beta. So there's a limit to how many users can use it in the beta mode. It's not made for production yet. So, but it's running. I'm happy to see if anyone wants to test it. You can test it. As long as you don't bring 1,000 people in, we're okay. So for testing for small volume, we'll be okay with that, and that can be used either with OBS, Flash Live, and I will actually allow you to broadcast direct from your webcam without any software on Firefox. I don't have that available yet. I don't have a button for it, but if I give you a button for it, you'll be able to do it. You can broadcast immediately on Firefox. Currently, only Firefox is not buggy. There's bugs on Chrome. So, and you can't use Safari. So the only one that will broadcast straight from a webcam without even using, what do you call that? Either OBS or FMLE will be the new feature that will be available soon. Okay? So that I will give you a button, but at the moment I would only use it on Firefox. It won't be able to broadcast for you. Now you can watch anything on you can watch anything. You are correct about DirectX and needing newer MS SDKs. How did you know I'm correct? Well, I have the understanding of why it needs that, because as I looked at the requirements for OBS, I realized that OBS does some sort of line rendering that is only available on DirectX, and some of the old computers did not have that preloaded. So maybe they don't have the chip, the graphics chip for it, or maybe they just don't have the software. One of the two. I'm not certain. So that's that's the limitation we have with OBS. So in a very short while here, you'll have the option as follows. You can broadcast on OBS, to Twitch, to YouTube Live, and to Brax Live. So those are the three options. You can broadcast using Flash Media Live Encoder to the same. I have not tried Flash Media Live Encoder on YouTube Live yet. So, I don't know what the settings are, but it works fine on Twitch and on Brax Live. And thirdly, you will have the ability to do a webcam based broadcast as long as you're using Brax on Firefox. And when that bug is fixed, then you will be able to do it on Chrome as well. So if you're in Chrome or Firefox, you'll be able to just hit the button and transmit. You don't need to set up anything up. So that'll be very, very convenient for the likes of, like Joey. That'll be very easy for Joey to do. Click a button and you're in. No need for any kind of special setup. So that will be a feature that will be available likely in a few days. So I'm like really busy right now trying to do too many things at the same time. But I hope that'll be ready by then. But at the moment, we can already use Flash Media Live Encoder and OBS. So that at least works on all platforms. So that is now live. Now, I haven't talked about Brax Live and the pricing and all that. And just to give you an idea, because many of us don't actually understand what Periscope or Twitch or any of these platforms offer us. I'm such a big broadcaster on Periscope. Just to give you some numbers here. I wish I had a calculator in here. But just to give you just the numbers. I broadcast on Periscope, and back in when I was at my peak, and I would get your typical 10,000 viewers, and even today, my watched hours is anywhere from 8 to 10 days of people watching, meaning that's hours. So 8 times 8, let's say 10 days worth of people watching a broadcast. That's 24 hours times 10. That's 240 hours of video consumption. Okay, 240 hours of video consumption. Now, as it turns out, 240 hours of video is approximately 120 gigabytes transmitted for that 240 hours of video watched. So that's 120 gigabytes. 120 gigabytes of transmission. Now, 120 gigabytes in raw cost, this is raw wholesale cost of transmission, just so you understand, is somewhere around 10 cents a gigabyte. So you're talking about a cost, this is not retail price, a cost of around, so that's 120 gigabytes at 10 cents. You're talking $12 every time somebody watches my broadcast on Periscope. It costs Periscope $12. Plus, the cost of tech support and all the other stuff. And let's say now that's up to $20 a broadcast. And if I broadcast for, every day and getting that same kind of numbers for 30 days, and then you start to say, wow, they pay between $500 and $600 for me to broadcast a month. They pay it. I don't pay it. It's free for me. Which is why you can see that YouTube does not like to do that model. They're monetizing right off the bat. They only want video if you can monetize on the video. They can only allow you to watch video if somebody is making money off the video. And if they don't make money off the video, they don't want your video. They don't want you to show video. They got to have advertising on it. Same with Twitch. So you can now see the cost of that each of you, when you watch a video, you have to think that every hour of that, they have to pay approximately, 10 cents for every hour of the video that one person watches. So it gets costly when you get 1,000 people watching or 10,000 people watching. So for that reason, you can see that video unfortunately can't be provided for free by somebody like me. I mean, it has to be. I have to pay for it. I have to pay for the bandwidth, and I have to find some ways of accounting for the bandwidth and so on, so that I can charge accordingly. So the Brax Live platform for transmitting private videos is available for beta, so you can use it as long as it's you can't abuse it because there's an upper limit to it. As long as it's still economically feasible, then we'll do a test on it with the intent that will go into premium mode. So if you want to do free broadcasting, you're going to have to start thinking about sticking to Twitch. Okay, because it's kind of an amazing deal with Twitch. You broadcast on Twitch and you don't spend a dime, and they're spending all the money. So every time that I do a big broadcast on Periscope, I'm costing Periscope between $12 to $20 a broadcast on a big broadcast. On a minor broadcast, maybe it's only costing them $6. Still, over 30 days, that's over $200 a month. So a big time broadcaster on Periscope is costing Twitter between $200 to $500 a month. Wow. Good thing I don't broadcast every day on Periscope now. I'm actually saving Periscope money by not broadcasting daily. So any questions on this? Any questions on this? You can test doing you can watch the video. I mean, it's such a very short explanation of how to use Flash Media Live Encoder. So you should all be able to try it. Now, Doug doesn't need that advice or instruction because he already figured out how to use OBS. So if your computer is fast enough to handle OBS, then you should use OBS. Because you have more options with OBS. So for somebody like Kate, for example, they can afford it. For somebody like Kate, they can afford it. Yeah. For somebody like Kate with her brand new i7, then she should use OBS. It's you have more capability. There's a lot more you can do. You can play music. You can do all that, and you're already paying for the bandwidth, so there's no additional cost. Same with Doug. He's broadcasting music and such, and there's no additional cost. So go ahead, use OBS. So if for those of you with more limited computers and you at least want to do a webcam, then you should use Flash Media Live Encoder, and very soon you don't even have to do that. Just click a button and I'll give you a button. Now the other thing that I'd like to just remind the broadcasters here. So I just started a broadcast here without really turning on Twitch. I didn't actually go to Twitch here because I didn't want to put the stream key on here. But the thing that most people forget is to end the broadcast. So I'm going to remind you, when you start a broadcast, it doesn't end by itself. It doesn't matter that you end the stream. You have to end the broadcast. So here I will show you that there is a button there called Stop Video Broadcast. You must click that. You must click that. Okay, so there's your thing. You must click that. So I'm going to end the Zuck broadcast now by clicking on that, and then now the broadcast is over. Okay, so now it will show that it's no longer broadcasting on that station. That's the station we were at. It's no longer broadcasting. Okay, many people are leaving the broadcast running, which case it ties up the channel, and then nobody else can use the channel, and I don't have a timeout for it at the moment. So somebody has to keep policing it and keep shutting you down, and it's just too much trouble. So just remember, if you start a broadcast on video, you need to end the broadcast manually. You have to. It doesn't matter that stream ended. The broadcast will seem like it's running forever unless you end it. And it's kind of time consuming to be figuring out if you're on the broadcast or not later on, so it's good to know that it's finished. Anybody else have any questions? If not, then we'll end this. Anybody else have any questions? I got 13 in here. Let me see who's here so we can see if anybody might have a question. Okay, anybody, just our usual group here. Anybody else have any question? If so, then I will, if not, then I will terminate the stream on YouTube. You can keep asking questions, of course, in here, but at least we have a YouTube replay. Okay, so I'm going to end the YouTube now.